Welcome to the narrowboat that James built. Hope you're well. Thanks for joining me. Well, my job to do now is to fit the galley kitchen. You'll have seen back in, well, I don't know what video it was, but it was a long time ago it seems. The kitchen design is a U shape. This bit here is going to be a tower. At the top is going to hold the electrical items, so transformers and the RCD and fuse boxes and all that kind of stuff is going to be there at the top. This part here at waist height is going to be the oven, and underneath is going to be the fridge. I don't have a fridge and I don't have an oven, but I'm going to make the spaces for it. And then along here is going to be a work surface up to about here. It's about 1500 mil. This part here is going to be obviously accessed under here because it's going to be behind this part here. Double cupboards, they might be slidey doors, something like that. The units are going to be 900 high, so normal standard kitchen high. The bases though are only going to be about, well, they are going to be 50 mil from the bottom of the floor. So unlike in a kitchen, you would have 150 mil between the floor and the base of the unit, and they stand on these feet. I'm not doing that because of purely, why would I? It's best to maximise the space, which is why, and then it comes out here, and this is an 80 unit. So this height here is 90, this bit here is 80. And the reason for that is that it kind of comes in on this kind of angle here, and then the fireplace will come out to 70. So that's the kind of the theory behind it. And I guess I'll have to find out and see how it works. The reason I've gone for slightly different depths is because, well, firstly, I'm not having a washing machine, which is really the only appliance you can't get in any other dimensions other than 600 by 600. Because I'm not having one, I'm free to kind of do what I like. I also think that some full-size domestic appliances like ovens on a boat look a bit out of place. They're a bit out of proportion. They're too big. The boat's only 6 foot wide, and this part here is only 90. If I was to have a full-size oven in here, kind of coming up to 60, it would look huge. It'd be like one of the biggest things on the boat. So I'm trying to make everything that much smaller. It makes sense to make it smaller because I've got more room, but also because I'm going for some kind of space saving things in terms of lowering the floor. That I'm hoping in terms of the space I'll have ample, but really the main kind of the main thing to pay attention to is the width of the work surface out to here. There's quite a lot of depth back here, but it's really coming out to here is what you want to play with. And the main thing for a work surface is got to fit the sink on it. So I don't mind having a slightly narrower work surface than you would do in a house, but as I said, it's got to fit a sink on it. I don't really like those minuscule sinks you can get. I know they're there for a purpose, but in a kitchen I'd quite like something a bit bigger. Certainly with all the kids around, you need quite a big sink. So the first job to do is to get the tower installed. I'm going to set it back a bit. This bulkhead has been taken right to the door frame, so I'm going to set the carcass back by 12 mil to enable me to have, if I want to put some trim on the kitchen, so if I want to have different coloured doors or whatever, obviously I'm going to I'll have to have a piece there. This is obviously where the electronics are going to be here. On this side of it, facing the wall here, is going to be where all the controls are. So, and all the switches and dials and ignition key and things like that. So that I might want an extra panel for. So I'm going to give myself the option to either have that. If not, I can just chuck another sheet up there. Okay, so the tower. This side is the taller side. And then this side So the idea is, on the outside of this, I've got that piece there going vertically. So, and I'm going to be screwing and gluing. I'll work out the best way of doing this by the end of all this galley. But in the meantime, I'll just give it a go. I know they're all going to be square as long as I get the get it right. Right, so I'm just putting in a shelf now into this 800 by 800 unit. So this is where the gas hobs are going to be, on this side of this unit. So what I want to make sure is that there's enough clearance for it, because they are recessed and there's quite a lot of gubbins that go into them. So I just want to make sure this shelf is low enough down. Hang on. Right, so this is the end unit where the hobs are going to be, and this is the long unit which is going to go along there. This is pretty much it as far as the carcass goes. This batten here is going to remain, and that is just long enough to fix onto the side there. So I'm just going to get some feet in the right place. Depending on how this lays on the floor, these might be the permanent feet, or I might have to source something else. But I'm going to fit all this, well, I'm going to put it all in place and then look at the tower. Right, so these two units are in, and well, they're in position. I wouldn't say they're in. And I'm not 100% sure what to make of it all yet. I'm pretty happy that all the lines are right and that's all square. Obviously that cupboard there is going to reach underneath there. The back of all of this is going to be obviously the fireplace. And now I'm just trying to work out the height of it all with the gunnels. So this batten here isn't attached to this one here yet, so that pulls up. That sits in line. And what I'm thinking of doing is buying a 600 surface worktop, which will sit at the back underneath the gunnel and come out. Now I know what you're saying, you can't have like a silly little kind of 80mm gap, but if this was all splashback, apart from this area here under the sink, which did go back as far as there, which is pretty much unusable space, apart from for a sink. Now, my good friend Will has got two really nice old sinks, but they are about 450 wide, or deep, shall we say, which if I was just coming out to here, that wouldn't fit in. But if I recessed it under here, and the only thing that would work under there is actually a sink, that might look quite nice. Obviously, I couldn't mount the taps there. The taps would have to be mounted on the side here with a hose to reach over to both of them. But that's kind of giving me a bit of a conundrum at the moment. But I'm happy with how they've all gone together. It's pretty straightforward. But I mean, in fairness, with the glue and the screws, that's as sturdy as you like. Okay, and here it is set out just in rough form. The tower's not fixed in. I'm just trying to work it all out for sizes at the moment, specifically the work surface. So that's the bit I'm just trying to get my head around. But I'm quite happy with that. How 900, then 800, and then 700 for the fireplace. That's quite nice. I quite like the fact there's enough gap there. There's certainly a big cavity there to do something with, either a cupboard or the boiler, if ever I can get one. Yeah, it's just working out this work surface underneath the gunnels and the height of the wall and variables like that. But really the important one for me to get in and fix in place is this one. Put the backing on it, and then I can start work on the fireplace as well. Right, so the taxi's just dropped off my worktop. So here's my new kitchen worktop. It didn't fit in the car, obviously. Right, so now I've got to put in the uprights for the tower. This one has been put in. You'll see I'm just using these cabinet blocks. You're not going to see anything behind there because obviously the oven and bits and pieces will be there, so these are working fine. I'm not putting them on the floor, I'm just putting them on the sides at the back, obviously on the inside. The reason I'm not putting them on the floor is because the fridge will go there and I don't know how much sliding space I'm going to need, so for the moment I'm going to keep them off. This is a width of 475. The best way for me to do this, because I can obviously get the measurement at the back, and I'm just using two shelves there which at the bottom which are at 475, so I'll put them in, and that's helping me get a true edge because there's only a few bits of straight I can take using my straight. So I've kind of, it's as straight as it's going to get, so I've taken all the bits I can and it's straight on the floor. And I am now starting to use a spirit level just to make sure that certain lines are right. Okay, so now these two panels, the two uprights of the tower are in. And I can put a shelf in for the oven, which is probably going to go probably around there-ish, something like that. But I'm not going to do that yet. Partly because I don't know what oven I'm going to get, and I don't know what height it is or what fridge it is or anything like that, so I'm going to leave that for the time being. Well, that's it for part one of the kitchen install. I'm really happy with how it's going so far, so I'm hoping part two continues on the same vein. You'll have to find out then. I've got to go to the chandlery now and pick up some bits and pieces for the chimney and the stove install. So until then, take care of yourselves. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.